Well, let's go to Ukraine now, where a temporary truce between police and rioters broke down overnight and bloodshed filled the streets of Kiev once again. The Ukrainian health department says at least 75 people have been killed since the clashes began. However, doctors working on the scene say as many as 70 protesters were reported dead today alone. Hundreds of others have been injured during this 12-week ordeal. The heaviest fighting is happening in Independence Square. Now, the surge in the number of victims comes as both the armed rioters as well as police are now using live ammunition in clashes. Many of the protesters and police officers killed or injured since Tuesday sustained gun wounds. Today is being described as the deadliest day in the protests to date. RT correspondent Alexei Yuroshevsky joined us earlier and shared with us his harrowing experience in Ukraine, including being shot at.
Well, right now we're pretty much okay. It's been a very turbulent day for us. First of all, getting here to Hotel Ukraina, where I'm right now, which is pretty much a fortress of the opposition rioting groups at the moment, was a nightmare because all the adjoining streets were blocked off by the police, and the first thing I saw on my way here was a policeman beaten to a bloody mess, carried on the stretcher. And I was really surprised to see that because last night, supposedly, the opposition and the government and the president have managed to agree on a truce, on a ceasefire. So it looked nothing like a ceasefire from the first minutes I got here. Then I had a live broadcast at 9 o'clock in the morning, and while I was doing that broadcast, I saw literally hell coming alive behind me with the protesters throwing Molotov cocktails and firing live weapons at the police retreating. And right in the middle of my live broadcast, the right-wing groups were actually running towards my live position. So I literally, for the first time in my 15-year career in television, I have to say to the viewers, I have to apologize because this is no longer safe, and I'll just leave you with a report I did yesterday. So this is how the day started. Literally 2 hours later, we were doing a live shot from a live position, one floor below where I'm standing right now in Hotel Ukraine. And literally about 90 seconds before I was supposed to go on air, a shot was fired into our room. It hit the glass, broke the window, and hit the wall, literally 30-50 centimeters from where our crew was standing and getting ready for the live broadcast. We eventually did the live broadcast, but it was quite tense indeed. And later on, in one of the rooms of our crews, we've managed to find a 7.62 bullet, presumably fired from the Kalashnikov. So this was pretty much a crossfire. Bullets were fired in every direction, and even in the rooms where there were no people inside, there were still bullet holes and bullets to be found.
Alexei, that is just unbelievable. I really hope that you and your crew are keeping safe out there. Obviously, this peace treaty that was supposed to have happened between the police and the rioters has not actually happened, or it was broken very quickly. Can you talk about the latest and about that peace treaty?
Well, this peace treaty is nothing, as we can see. I mean, it's non-existent. It is, once again, a viable proof that the people in the protest, in the heart of the protest, the so-called right-wing sector, they're not taking orders from anybody, from the opposition or from anyone else. In fact, their leader, Dmitry Yarosh, said last night that he knew nothing about this truce and that they would not obey orders. They want the revolution to go to the very end. And this is pretty much what was happening in the morning in Kiev. And from my standpoint, where I was standing, I clearly saw that it was the protesters who were attacking the police, not the other way around, as it happened on several occasions here in Kiev. So this is no truce. I mean, we cannot speak about any kind of reconciliation between the sides. And despite the efforts by the opposition and the president to agree on something, these people here at the Maidan, at the Independence Square, they are willing to go to the very end. Right now, it's relatively calm. We're hearing very sporadic gunshots being fired, but it's not particularly tense at the moment. I would say it's a tense wait. People are waiting for something, whether this will be another assault or something else, but this is a very, very nervous wait.
And Alexei, I do want to clarify something. We know that the police are using live ammunition, but from your perspective, from what you have seen, you've also seen protesters using guns and ammunition as well, right?
Absolutely. I can confirm it. I saw it with my own eyes. Both the police and the protesters and the rioters using live weapons. In fact, when the police were retreating, they fired AK-74 famous Kalashnikov rifles, a special version for the special forces, at the protesters, and the protesters were firing hunting rifles, sniper rifles, handguns, and we actually managed, by pure luck, by pure coincidence, to get into their sniping position at the 14th floor of Hotel Ukraina, where I'm right now, where the protesters, the rioters, have their sniping position. Our cameraman was inside to film how they were firing back at presumably snipers of the armed forces of the police. So yes, it is absolutely clear that both sides are using live rounds now, and this is bringing certainly much more fuel to the already ongoing fire.
Now, I understand also that you were covering the Orange Revolution that happened in Ukraine back 9 years ago or so. So talk about your experience covering that and kind of compare it to what we're dealing with now. Is there any comparison you can strike?
Well, I can safely say that I've covered several hotspots, as we call it, with riots and conflicts. But Orange Revolution, little less than 9 years ago, was nothing compared to what is happening at the moment, because it was pretty much a peaceful protest, a peaceful attempt to overthrow the regime. No bullets were fired, no rocks were thrown, no Molotov cocktails were used. It was a purely peaceful matter, and back then there was certainly some feeling that army could be involved, that tanks would enter the city and things may get violent, but it never did. This time, the suspicion, the allegation that, and even the belief that the army may actually be involved in this conflict and may attack anytime soon, even during this night, is absolutely real. Because of all the things happening, because of so many dead, I've just literally seen at least 10 corpses of rioters carried to the Independence Square for a vigil, and pretty much the same thing is happening from the police side. We also know of reported several dead policemen on that other side and lots of injured. So this is nothing compared to the Orange Revolution. The Orange Revolution was a completely peaceful one, no force whatsoever, only some minor pushing and shoving. This time it's real warfare in Kiev, and I'm afraid to actually, I'm afraid to even think what's going to happen next with the country in the whole.
Well, Alexei, I cannot stress enough how much I hope you keep safe and keep bringing us your excellent reports. RT correspondent Alexei Yaroshevsky reporting from Kiev, Ukraine.